Yes, we are live. Good morning, Mr. Tefa, and good morning to our correspondents and our field reporters. It's another weekend, and we are happy that we are progressing successfully so far. Uh, this is the 14th session. For the last 13, we've had Mr. Tefa take us through this wonderful journey, and it's all been grateful. I mean, those are ways to describe his impeccable delivery of his lecture, which not only the correspondents have been a beneficiary, but also the moderator, I must say. So thank you so much, Mr. Tefa, and it's good to have you back
You're
again
welcome.
on this 14th session. So just a couple of things before we start today. I understand that we have just a few people or a few correspondents on board right now, so we just take a few introduction, a few comments before I allow Mr. Tefa to come in and give his wonderful lecture as usual. So, good morning, Tona. I can see your comments, and good morning to others as well. Good morning, Edith Young, yeah. I believe I didn't murder your name. Good morning. Good morning to others as well. I believe as you come in, you can also comment in the comment section so that we understand that you are following us as we progress this morning. So, just as we've mentioned, we are still asking that you take the usual uh, steps that we've always mentioned here, which nothing too hard for you to do. Good morning, Patrick. Which is, of course, for you to fill your attendance. Good morning, Mohammed Sani. You're encouraged to fill your attendance, which is going to be a pinned comment here in the group. And also, we want you to go through social media platforms to engage with all the content that we are pushing out for the world to see. Good morning, Deborah. So once you've been able to do that, it's going to as well help you to understand the kind of things that we want to achieve and how we hope to achieve them with your support and with your collaborations. And it's also important that you follow us because this is also a platform where you're able to showcase what you've been learning from Mr. Tefa for the last 13 classes so far. Today is the 14th session, and I believe he's also ready for taking you through that journey. And I understand a lot of you have different questions that you asked last week. There are a lot of things being done, a lot of things being put in the right places while we wait for the class to conclude. So, of course, information will be passed across to you on your WhatsApp platform and also through your email. So, if you have any questions that are not related to what Mr. Tefa is going to be teaching us today after the class, please do well to share that with us on our platform, which is going to be on WhatsApp and the through your email. We wouldn't want to take Mr. Tefa's time, and we wouldn't want to take too much of your time as well. This is a weekend, and we understand how valuable and important that is for you to rest and also to prepare for the new week, which is coming tomorrow. So I think I believe I've done a brief introduction, and so Mr. Tefa needs no introduction. I'll just allow him to take the class right now. Good day, Mr. Tefa.
All right. Thank you,
Yeah,
Adewale. Thank you, Adewale.
yeah.
All right. Welcome to another session of this wonderful training. Um, before uh, I talk about the topic uh, for today, which is television and conflict reporting, I would love to encourage all of you to continue to take this training very, very seriously, because the training, at the end of the training, you will all be issued certificate. Definitely, there will be certificates that will be issued and by Three-Piece Media, and that will add to your CV because a credible, registered, well-known media organization like Three-Piece Media issuing certificates to journalists would be recognized anywhere you take that. A 3 month training, because this training is for 3 months, a 3 month training in television journalism, because all that we are doing is based on television reporting. So if the need be for radio reporting to be done, newspaper reporting, online journalism, uh, newspaper journalism, radio journalism, trainings in those aspects will also be given appropriately because I started my first media training, my first media practice in a local newspaper in Benue State, First News, which I worked there for 4 years before I left, and then did about 2 years in the radio at Jos, Highland FM, and then specialized finally in television journalism. So I can take lectures in print, newspaper, online, radio, and television, which is my area of specialization. So just take this training very seriously, and you'll be glad you did. At the end of the training, you'll be excited because the certificate that Three-Piece Media will issue to you will go places. There are applications for contracts, media contract jobs, or part-time activities that once you attach the photocopy of the certificate that will be issued by Three-Piece Media, you have an edge over those that just studied mass comm or did certain courses, English, English or sociology or any aspect without having a media background. So it is very, very important that you take this training very seriously and ensure that the best is done. Like I said before, you need to be practicing. It's not just for you to wait until a task is being given to you before you do that. If there is any newsworthy activity within your area, you can do that and forward to Three-Piece Media. As the training is going on, you should consider yourself working as well because you are being trained to practice and not just trained to be there. So as the training is ongoing, you can use the knowledge you have obtained so far to get stories in various areas where you have got the adequate knowledge to actually make input. So you can go to such areas and do the needful and forward to the to Three-Piece Media for proper editing to be done, and the visuals or short can be used to form the news story for its bulletin, news bulletin. So it is important that that should be done. So you can uh, source for news. You can look for news if there's any special event you cover. If there's any unexpected event that happens, any accidental occurrence or any accident or emergency situations or events, you can also get the stories and get the details like you have been trained to ask questions and do that, how to get those shots. So you know what to do to get what is needed and forward to Trippis Media. Today, I will be looking at the television and conflict reporting. In the past, we talked about specialized reporting and issues involve rural reporting. Then we talk about environmental reporting and TV, and now we're talking about conflict reporting, television and conflict reporting. So the training is giving you the specifics, not a generalization of journalism. It is giving you the specific because how the coverage of rural reporting is being approached may not be the same with conflict reporting. despite the fact that they are all reporting an event from these aspects, but the approach differs based on the situation that warrants such report, the aspects of the report, and other factors involved. So that is the reason the training has been arranged in such a way that you will get the specifics, because what you can do in reporting a particular aspect, you can't do in reporting another. So you need to know the do and don'ts, the process involved, what should be done in a particular situation, how you should appear, because the way you will appear, the things you will wear in covering certain events may not be the same clothes you wear in covering another. So all these things are expected to be known. So in today's uh, training with the topic television and conflict reporting, we'll be looking at some of these things. Conflict has been a fundamental and universal problem that has been going on in all parts of the world. There is no part of the world that conflict doesn't exist. Even within ourselves, we have internal conflicts. Times we argue. We have intrapersonal communication. There's interpersonal and intrapersonal communication. Intrapersonal communication is the communication that goes on within yourself, where you ask yourself questions, you arrive at answers, and take decisions only within you. That is intrapersonal. Then interpersonal is a communication where you interact with someone, talk to someone, the person talks to you, and then you make some kind of decisions from the communication. So conflict exists in every society, in every family, in every organization. So there is no place where conflict doesn't have a place. But the type of conflict or the frequency of the conflict are issues that may differ from one person to the other, from one society to the other, from one area to the other, or the type of conflict. There are certain areas where a particular conflict may not be dominant, and then the other one may be dominant or frequent. And then there are places where a particular conflict has never been experienced. So conflict actually deals with, it's like crisis. It's a kind of a disagreement, conflict, disagreement. So some conflicts can lead to terrible actions, while some can actually not degenerate. When conflict degenerates, it leads to war, it leads to violent crisis, it leads to terrible situations if not properly managed. So, what is the role of television journalists in conflict reporting? How should conflict reporting be conducted? How should it be done? What are the things expected? You know, Reporting conflict is one of the most difficult aspects of reportage in journalism generally, because you are dealing with a lot of factors or indices. In reporting conflict, you consider the safety of somebody, the safety of yourself. You consider the people that you are actually representing, because as a media practitioner, you are a professional in the area, and then you are representing people. You are the mouthpiece, you are the bridge, because a journalist is expected to take information to the government, and from the government to the people. So you are standing in the middle of the audience and the government. So whatever is being said, it is expected that you get the accurate information devoid of sentiment, because in reporting, you have to actually do things objectively, especially sensitive issues. Sensitive issues require extra carefulness. You have to be extremely careful in doing those things. Now, in conflict reporting, in conflict reporting, you have to take the appropriate measures. What type of conflict are you going to report? Is it communal clashes? Is it uh, terrorist attack? Or are you going to report a kind of international conflict, like maybe or border disagreement that is being intense? Or are you going to report a workplace conflict? So the type of conflict will determine the approach to be taken and the safety of the journalists involved. Because in reporting conflict, you need to understand what type of conflict, what is the terrain where the conflict is taking place or took place, and then what is the history of conflict in the areas. There are a lot of things that conflict reporters must take into consideration. You need to know the history of, has this area been known for this kind of conflict, or this is the first time it is happening. If it's not the first time, it has always been occurring. Reports submitted by fact finders or committees, which the media was able to put that what actually led to the 4 or 5 occurrences of this kind of conflict in the area. Is it the same factor that repeated 5 times, or different issues? So what could actually happen? Were there external factors that led to the problem, or there were internal factors? So a research must be conducted. That is the reason I was able to the reason I was able to talk about certain things regarding the research. I talked about the importance of research, that for research to be effectively carried out, you must know this, because there are certain things that you cannot just report. You need to do adequate research. That's the reason I mentioned before the importance of research, how important research is in every aspect of journalism. So you cannot in any way do any any work effectively without doing your research. So you need to do research in where conflict reporting is actually going to be involved. You need to know the history. You need to understand the situation. Now, if a crisis, for instance, religious crisis, there are a lot of crises that have been happening: religious crisis, communal crisis, terrorist attacks, and so on and so forth, that have been going on. Then, if you are going to cover religious crisis, let me start with that, because I have watched coverages of religious crisis and read stories about that, and from a lot of angles of reportage, you see the emotions that are being induced in such reports. You see the sensationalism that is being induced in such report. The fact that a reporter is a Christian or a Muslim should not influence that report. It should be balanced. As a Christian, if there is a religious crisis and you go there to conduct your recordings, your interview, your report, you don't only interview Christians and hear their own side of the story and write a report and submit to blame the Muslims for being responsible. It is not a balanced report. That is where bias comes in. It means your story is not balanced, because you have not interviewed the Muslim community. You only interviewed the Christian community and you concluded. And your report, even if in your report you did not give any blame, by the presentation, those who see that we definitely blame the Muslim community for being responsible, because whatever the Christian say in the Christian community where you conducted the attack, and then you didn't give room for the Muslim community to say anything, and then you present the report like that, even without you as a reporter saying anything that you blame the Muslim of that. By presenting the report, it seems you are indirectly blaming the Muslim community for being responsible, because the audience will see and hear only the Christians giving their reasons, and whatever is said, people will believe. That is the reason when people go out and gossip about others, when they hear the first person, until they hear the second one before they'll be able to make sensible judgment. Oh, that if had it been I only worked with the first information I obtained, I would have taken a wrong decision. So they will start saying that they would have regretted if they had done something without hearing from the second person. So when you are too quick to act, to do certain things without following the appropriate measures, you can, in fact, create more problems. So in conflict reporting, if you're not careful enough, a problem that people are trying to manage and see how it can be subdued, you will escalate it by presenting an unbalanced report. So once you go there, you hear the side of the Christians, you interview the Muslim, and then you call the government to intervene in the situation. So you leave the audience to judge. By the time they hear the side of the Christian community, Muslim community, and then you interview other experts in conflict resolution, conflict management, and then you leave it like that for the audience to decide how to pass the judgment. That is how it should be. Let the audience watch the report, the interview from both sides, and decide to act based on what they hear and see. So for a reporter to just take side, or maybe the same thing, a Muslim meeting the Muslim community, only reporting what the Muslims say, and ignoring any interview on the side of Christians, it makes the report not to be balanced. I remember when I was in Plateau State in Jos, where I did my professional program in television journalism at NTA Television College Jos. I remember in December 2010, that is Christmas Eve bombing that occurred at Gadabu. I was in Jos then, and we're heading towards that area after leaving Plateau Riders. So we were heading to that area when the explosion occurred. The explosion occurred at a time that it was very intense. So when we went there, everybody was, it was in the evening towards around 7 to 8 at that time the detonation happened. And we left Plateau Riders, we're heading to the place. We have to stop and saw corpses around the area. Then people were confused, some were crying, and the whole place became tensed. So I knew that the next day, Christmas, will be very terrible and bloody. So I was staying at Rukuba Road, then heading to Rukuba Barracks, Maswe Kobe Barracks. So the next day, being 25th December, there was no Christmas celebration in that area. I don't know of other places because I didn't go to other places, and a lot of things, attacks began. I was there. I saw what happened. Now, the issue most people misunderstood earlier was that when the attack happened, just concluded that since it was in a Christian area, the bomb was planted by a Muslim. That was just an assumption. A reporter is not supposed to assume and then just write your report, interview people. They say yes, they got a new bombing happened. It was a Muslim who planted the bomb and all that. Then you now write your report, do the coverage, and put on air that yes, the bombing was carried out by a Muslim. How do you know? Who? What investigation did you do? Because some information can only be obtained after investigation. At the spot, you can just give the story the way it is. that an attack happened or an explosion happened at a particular area, and it is anticipated that the casualty level is this, or from what is seen, casualty level could be, because you can't be specific. Because when you say is, it means you have the exact number, or from what it seems, it means that casualty level could rise, and so on. At the time of filing the report, those behind hasn't been known, or the cause of the explosion hasn't been known, or the motive. Your report should be specific, should show that what has happened is something that enough information has not been obtained, which means the story is a kind of developing story. It's a story that is still building, is still progressing, which means more or details, more information or details will still be obtained, in which the audience will be furnished with the detail of the report. So once you are to report that, I was not there when the explosion happened, but I came and met how things were burning and saw some corpses on the ground. So it would be wrong as a reporter now write, do some short, and then at the moment just write story that yes, the Muslims have attacked a Christian area, and then just put on it. It is very, very wrong, because that can reignite crisis. It can degenerate situation, can make situations to degenerate and make things worse. So you must take time to find out certain information before you bring up. Once the investigation is done, in your subsequent report, you cannot put that the December Christmas Eve bombing that occurred last week or 2 days, uh, the following people were discovered to be involved. That is why when you see stories, you hear that investigation is on the way, more findings will be done, detail will be, until the people involved are being found. Before a report will come out authoritatively, there will be an authentic report where those involved will be mentioned, that this person was caught, made a confession, this one, after investigation. So in that aspect, you are free to report that. But issues of religion, like I have said, is a very sensitive issue that should not be reported anyhow. You can't just say anything you want to say because you are a Christian. You can't just say anything you want to say because you are a Muslim. Most of the religious crisis that happen is because of careless speeches, careless actions. You talk anyhow, you act anyhow, and then you make a bad situation worse. You have to have respect for every religion. Whatever report must be done with caution. You shouldn't use derogative words in describing people, because this one is a Christian or a Muslim. Then you write anyhow and use any term to describe the person or the action, which means you will be, instead of being a peacemaker or someone who should ensure that peace is being brought to place or facilitated or enhanced, you become a destroyer, because your report will create destruction. Your report will cause problem. I once made mention of a report that was given, I think it was in 2002, by Daniel Isioma of, I think, Daily Trust, or I've forgotten the newspaper, but the newspaper office was destroyed in Kaduna because of the misword. She mentioned Prophet Muhammad in the report, that if Prophet Muhammad were alive, he would want to take one of the girls or marry, something like that. You don't do things like that. You don't write such things. In fact, that thing affected, Miss Ward was not here. I think Ben Bruce was the managing director of NTA then, the director general. So because Ben Bruce was part of the committee for that Miss World, and a lot of people invested in that, a contest that was supposed to generate revenue for Nigeria, for investors. It wasn't hosted again because it sparked a religious crisis, because the report was coming from a Christian. So the Muslim community felt bad that this is hatred. This is hate speech against their cherished prophet, and the whole thing led to crisis. That means war didn't hold in Nigeria anymore. Just one person's mistake led to extreme damage and loss of lives. People died. It became a religious crisis. So reporters should be very careful in reporting issues that has to do with religion. You need to ask questions where you don't understand. By the time your report is drawn, you meet experts in the areas as well. You interview them. At least you should know. They will tell you, no, this kind of report, this is not the way it should be presented. This is how it should be written. This shot should not go on air. In conflict reporting, it's not every visual that is obtained that you put on air. It's not. It's not every video. That is why you see, even on social media, there are certain videos that when you post on Facebook or other social media platform, they will be blocked. They will tell you that the video has not met community standard or is against the rule, because you don't have to be posting videos of corpses around people uh, with wounds, gunshots on their body, and then you just put on air like that. It is not. It's not okay. It's not right. If that must happen, then you need to make the images to be blurred. You need to ensure that the parts where the blood and the head being cut off or the mutilation is being uh, 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 covered by any image, to ensure that you don't show the exact image of people killed, or maybe in the process of an attack where people are being killed, you are doing the coverage at the point of the killing. Maybe people are shooting others or slaughtering, stabbing, and then you are doing a live, you are doing the coverage of that. Maybe you recorded that as it happened, and then you want to put it as a news story and upload online or put. It is not permitted. It's not right. It is against the media ethics to do that. It's against the media law as well, because doing that is trying to promote a crisis and then make those who are who are affected by that to have issues, to have some kind of trauma. That is why during editing, all those things have to be removed, because the editor is the gatekeeper of any media organization, except if an individual is managing the media platform on their own, that you record, do everything, and send on your own. You are not working as an organized media organization, because Three Piece Media Limited is an organized media organization that has an organogram, how activities are being performed. So before anything is being uploaded on their uh, platforms, it must be edited. The editor knows his job or her job. So the person will ensure that whatever is going viral, is going to be disseminated to the audience, must meet the standard required of that. So if such shots are being uploaded, sent to him or sent to the editor will definitely edit, will remove where such images are being shown. You can show houses where houses are burning. You can show smoke coming out. That one is better. You can show from a distance houses burned. Then you can take a close-up shot. By the time the attack might have happened, and the story is to be written, you can go to the place, get shots of the burnt cars, houses, and all that. That one is accepted. It's acceptable. You can do that and then write your story. But where humans, corpses are involved, it becomes a problem, because if that is not carefully done, it can lead to another crisis or degenerate an already fragile problem. So it is very important that that should be taken care of. Now, when you are going to cover crisis like religious crisis, you don't need to wear anything that shows your faith. If you are a Christian, you don't need to wear anything with the sign of Mary or Jesus Christ or with any inscription that shows that it is portraying Christianity. And if you are a Muslim too, you're not supposed to wear anything like that, because by appearing like that shows already that you are biased even before conducting any report or research or interview. Once people see, they know that this one is a Christian reporter, this one is a Muslim reporter. A reporter is not supposed to be tagged like that. Nothing like Christian reporter, Muslim reporter. You are a reporter for all. So whether an issue affects the Muslim, you should report objectively, despite the fact that you're not a Muslim. Whether an issue affects the Christians, you should report objectively, despite the fact that you are not a Christian. So the type of clothes that is worn in an environment like that, in a situation like that, should also be taken into consideration. It is very, very important so that you will not make things worse. And then you may put your life at risk too, because where conflict happens and reporters are there, in some situations, reporters are being protected as when they don't go with security. In some cases, people know that this one is a reporter. He's a reporter with NTA, because normally when reporters go out to cover events like that, crisis event, at times you see them with inscription of press, or maybe the media organization they work for, maybe NTA channels arise, as case maybe you see them with that identity. There is an obvious identity, so that even from a distance, someone will know that this one is a reporter. So in such situations, in most cases, they are not harmed, except in extreme situation. But if you have something that shows that this is where you belong, then it seems you are putting your life at risk too. Because once you wear anything like that, you will be killed easily. This one is on Muslim side, this one is on the Christian side. Then you will be that way. So your appearance should be taken into consideration too. Some people take their hands and put themselves in danger by the things they wear, the things they say, and how they act. Their appearance, their speech and action normally leads them to trouble, into trouble. So you will ensure that you avoid that, so that you will not be caught in the midst of anything that would actually discredit the media organization, three-piece media. And then even if it doesn't discredit you, it can lead to loss of life. You may lose your life, and then that will be very terrible. So you have to be careful in that aspect. Then we have a communal clashes. At times you hear of a particular people fighting against others. The thief and the Obudu people have been having crisis, border crisis, and then you hear of the same settlement, the same people. You see one clan fighting against the other clan in the same ward, or you see one kindred fighting against another kindred in the same ward. So those one are communal clashes. Now, when they occur and you also want to report, you should also take into consideration that even if you are from one of the kindreds or the clans or the wards that is being involved in the clash, you should still be objective. You should still be reasonable. You should still report things the way they happen. And then if your own clan is at fault, put it the way it is. Don't try to subdue any, to hide any story, because by the time a situation happen and the traditional rulers, those involved, others come together and do their findings. It's the way you do an interview, and then the person or those at fault will, it will be obvious. You don't need a soothsayer, you don't need to go deep to actually know the truth. So there are situations where getting the fact is very easy and it's obvious, it's there, it's open. So in such a way, you should not try to color the situation, to paint or what is black white, because it doesn't favor your own people, language, or clan. You should give stories the way they are. One of the issues that should be taken into consideration is the police or any military formation, if you have to go to any crisis zone to cover anything, it is not advisable to just move and go alone. Even if the crisis, uh, maybe it was being curbed, you cannot just go there that where the crisis is not like it was, or it has ceased, it has stopped. So I can just go there. No, you need to make proper provision for your safety, for your security. You can meet security agents, you can meet the police, you can meet any military formation or any joint task force, and present your identity card. You introduce yourself and tell them you are a reporter and you want to go to cover a story in this area or that. So at times they will tell you, well, they are expecting other reporters to come join. Maybe there's a time they will tell you they're expecting reporters to come at once and then go there together under one protective cover to go there and do that. But when you decide to get someone to escort you, to follow you to the place, then there will be charges and fee to be paid for that service to be done, because you are going there to do a work. So that is why the work of coverage, conflict reporting, and other aspect of journalism requires fund too. There's need for fund to be made available for certain logistics, because there are some places you need to spend money apart from the transportation, fare, and then feeding that may be required. There may be other logistics that will require to give money. Maybe you need somebody to interpret what someone is saying. The person will tell you to give them something before they will be able to give you such services. So money is also needed in doing the work of journalism effectively, so that you'll be able to, at all times, meet the needs required for the media organization. Now, when these communal clashes are being covered, you get the exact story. You interview both sides. You interview traditional rulers. You interview residents and then experts in the area. You interview people who will be able to tell you what happened, who were there from the beginning and understood the process. Some will tell you that before the clash, they will give you series of events that happened which triggered the the the, the clash. So you will be able to get these facts and put them together before you can write your story. Now, when writing your story, you won't conclude that you blame a particular clan, you blame this, you blame that. No, you say the interview obtained, or the residents said this, reported, or agreed or disagreed with that. So according to them, this is what happened. You are reporting based on what you went to the field and obtained. It is not your opinion. So you cannot be saying as if you were there. You are just reporting what you found out. So your report should not have any emotions. You shouldn't induce any emotion in your report and make people feel that kind, because this thing affects me. Let me write it in a way that my people will get consoled. No, it's not done like that. If your group, your ethnic group, your ward, kindred, clan is at fault, then you should report the way you have found out the issue to be, the way the interview indicates. Because maybe in the course of the interview, the traditional rulers affirmed that yes, this actually happened, and maybe out of the people interviewed, only one or two went against what was being said generally. And then, as a reporter too, you can do your own findings off record, so that you will know deep inside you that this is who is at fault, this is who is guilty, this is who is innocent, this is who is the perpetrator, or the perpetrators, who are the perpetrators of that action. So you will know. It's just like knowing certain things so that you will know how to take actions next time. You will know how to present your story next time, devoid of any sentiment, of any emotions. So conflict reporting is very, very important because in Nigeria, where this is going to be practiced, the most experienced conflicts are communal and religious. These are the conflicts that have actually eaten deep into Nigeria. Other conflicts like workplace conflict, domestic conflicts of other types, they can actually be reported, but these are conflicts that don't blow out of proportion in most cases, because there are certain conflict situations that can blow out of proportion, which may require, which may become newsworthy. You know, some conflicts are everyday conflicts that happen. You know, maybe in the workplace, in the office, you see the boss having conflict with the employer, yeah, having conflict with the employee on daily basis. Every time there's disagreement, there is fight and all. So those ones are daily occurrence or things that happen all the time. So which it may not really be newsworthy at all times, except if something extraordinary or unique or something tremendous happen that it can be captured to become a news story that can actually make impact. So it's just like domestic conflicts, like the husband and wife always having arguments, always fighting. These are issues that happen every day in families. But in a situation where a conflict like that occurred and someone dies, then that becomes a newsworthy story. Or maybe somebody is beaten and injured. That becomes a newsworthy story. To what level? So that by reporting that, it would send a message to couples, to people that beat their spouses, to know the effect that can cause. Maybe in the course of that, the arrests were made for domestic violence by security agencies. So it will actually send a message that this is not right. So it's against the law for this to be done. So it will make other people to learn. You know, a lot of people learn from reports of other people's disciplinary action taken on other people. So they learn that so this action can send someone to jail. So you see certain persons readjusted their lifestyle because of television journalism. So you see that you are life changers. You are people who are trained to change lives. Your presentation can change lives, but can also destroy if it is not presented appropriately. So your presentation needs to be in a way that it can cause a positive change. That is what reporters should do all the time, all the times. So in reporting conflict of that nature, that is the situation where it can be newsworthy. Maybe someone gets to a critical level because there have been reports of domestic tolerance. There have been campaigns, there have been agitations, there have been people advocating for peace to reign in the families, in homes, and then fighting against domestic violence. So that has been consistently said and has become a focal point by many NGOs and other organizations. So when anything happens to the contrary that leads to loss of life or serious injuries, then that becomes newsworthy. So in that aspect, the you can report because it is a conflict, because conflict generally talks about disagreement. Once there is a disagreement, there is conflict. That's the reason some persons will tell you conflict of interest, conflict of that. So disagreement is what leads to conflict, because once Mr. A doesn't agree with Mr. B, then it's likely that things will not go well. Where things are working, it seems there is no conflict because where there is conflict, things don't move well. Because disagreement will not lead to smooth service delivery, because disagreement will retard the willingness, will retard the zeal of an individual to put in their best. Conflict would kill one's, in fact, would degenerate or subdue one's psychological state. So it will affect the entire body system to do what is right. Because someone who is a professional, once the person is psychologically imbalanced, the person will do something that people will wonder, but this person has been very proficient, very effective with his stats. What happened that he made this kind of error or blunder? So no matter how professional you may be, being psychologically unstable can affect the whole system, and then whatever you do will not have any positive impact or headway. So it is very, very imperative that television journalists who report conflict should ensure that they follow the right channels, they ask questions from both sides, they get the interview appropriately, get their reports, and get their recordings that will not actually be too terrible. That will not be terrible at all. Don't show corpses, bodies lying everywhere, blood stains everywhere, and like that. So the shot should be in such a way that it will not actually create more problems. That is why even in movies, before a movie is shown or a film is shown, you will be told that it has some kind of shots that would be actually disturbing, so that those who don't like shots like that, don't like scenes like that, would not want to watch. So it is very important. That is to tell you how these shots can cause certain problems. There are some people that once they see corpses, it affects them for a very long time. You see blood, especially corpses that are being shot or butchered. Once they, or people that are being shot or butchered, when people are shot or butchered and they see such corpses, it has a kind of mental effect or psychological effect they feel for a very long time before they get rid of that. So that is why some persons don't go close to where corpses are. So even in journalism, it's not everybody that can fit into conflict reporting. So if you know that you don't have the mental and psychological stamina to actually fit into conflict reporting, it is an area that you cannot be compared, that you must do it. It's an area that is very, very sensitive, an area that is risky, an area that requires high level of professionalism. So it's only take those who are determined to do, who are willing to do, who want to do. And it will not be right for any media organization to force any reporter to report conflict issues like that. If a reporter says that the person says that they don't want to see such, they have phobia for that, so it would be impossible for that to happen. I think there are people who are equal to the task that can actually do that. That is why in the area of conflict reporting, you will hardly see many people involved in that category because of all this involved. Some persons are specialized conflict reporters. They specialize in conflict reporting as their area of specialization and have been reporting conflict for years. So they are experts in that area. They know everything involved. They know people to meet in certain conditions and situations. They know people fueling problems. They know the truth about those involved. They know reasons why, even when certain people are known, they are not exposed. So they will give you all that because of the years of experience. So as you are on a particular beat for very long, you will get used to it, and then it becomes like a song to you. So you will be able to get that. So this is where we will draw the curtain for today's session. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for that wonderful presentation, Mr. Tefa. And I must really say that it's really important that this topic was delivered here today, because of course we see a lot of conflict happening around the world, even in Nigeria, as you've made some case studies such as things that are familiar to us: communal clashes, herders farmers clashes, or some things that happen within communities as well. So thank you for that. And also, I also believe, just like you mentioned, that it's quite important that we understand what we want to communicate, because we hold a very important responsibility as a media to report accurately, without our own objectively, without our own bias or our own interest mustn't
Yes,
put forward. The interest of the people must be prioritized whenever we do. And also, for the issue of safety, we cannot deny that wherever there's conflict and violence, media must be there to report it, but also we must come with that in mind, at the back of our mind, that the issue of safety is also something that we must put in place. And some people have even gone to withdraw their media crew from some conflict zone where they see that they are not protected, or the
yes,
people, the clashes, the perpetrators of this are not even willing to engage with the media. Those are things that we put in place to withdraw them, in as much as we understand that it could lead to sudden death. So thank you for that, Mr. Tefa, and I believe
thank
they've learned so well. So I'm going through the comment section now to see some of the questions that some of them I want you to provide answers to.
okay.
This is from Judith. She said, "This means news or media reporting is a very sensitive path, and one must tread carefully."
Yes,
Yes,
Judith.
Judith.
Yes, you
Yes,
are right.
you are right.
The issue is
The issue
journalism
is
as it
journalism
is
as
a
it is a
profession that
profession that
requires
requires
carefulness,
carefulness,
generally
generally
carefulness in
carefulness
information
in information
dissemination,
dissemination,
carefulness in
carefulness in
relationship with
relationship
people,
with people,
carefulness
carefulness
in
in
reporting, writing,
reporting,
and everything.
writing, and
So it
everything.
is
So
a
it is a
careful
careful
profession. Uh,
profession. Uh,
Okay, and this is a follow-up question from her. She mentioned, while trying to be audience sensitive and withholding aspects of a supposed report, sir, wouldn't that be denying the audience of stating facts as they are?
okay,
okay,
thank you very
thank
much.
you very much.
It's a very
It's
lovely
a very
question.
lovely question.
You see,
You see,
the issue
the
about
issue about
reporting
reporting
showing
showing
shots is
shots
different
is
from the
different
exact
from the
report.
exact report.
The
The
voiceover
voiceover
can say
can
the details
say
of
the
what
details of what
happened,
happened,
but the
but the
videos must not have the details. If the voiceover is saying that with the report submitted by the police, or according to the information given by the police public relation officer, 26 persons were killed in the attack, then the video should not show the 26 people being lined up or being put somewhere. There should be no shot showing those 26 persons. But the fact that the videos did not show the 26 people or the exact recordings of things as they happen doesn't mean the fact or the story is being distorted. It is just the images, the motion pictures, or the still pictures that are being controlled or done in the sensitive way, so that it will not create certain problems. Like I said, some suffer from mental, psychological, and other issues that can come up.
Thank you for that, Mr. Tefa. And just to show how appreciative they are, this is
Welcome.
from Goro. Say thank you for the session. God bless you. And another one said an interesting session. Thank you, Mr. Tefa. And
Welcome.
so those are people that enjoyed. Commenting
Okay,
that they
welcome.
enjoyed the class. This is from Atetan. Conflict
Okay.
reporting has to be reported with care. Sir, in an event where you stumbled across vital information and such you decide to report as it is it right to drop such report if there is a threat to your life?
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Like I've said,
It is only
it is
those
only
who
those who
are alive
are
that
alive that
can work.
can
I think
work.
I said
I
that
think
in
I
one of
said
the
that in
sessions.
one of the
So
sessions. So
dead people don't
dead
cover
people don't cover
anything. It's only
anything.
those who
It's
are
only
alive.
those who are
So
alive.
where your
So
life is
where
at
your
risk,
life is at risk,
you just have
you just have
to
to
say,
to, to
just have to
say,
leave the
just
scene.
have
Just
to
like
leave the scene. Just like
Adewale also
Adewale
added
also
that at
added
times
that at
media
times
organization
media
withdraw
organization withdraw
their
their
reporters when they
reporters when
see
they
that the
see that
place
the
is
place is
becoming too
becoming too
terrible or hot
terrible or hot
or intense.
or
So
intense.
it
So
is not
it is
a
not
necessity that if
necessity
your
that if
life
your
is
life is
at risk
at
or there's
risk
a
or
threat
there's
to
a
your life,
threat to
you
your
must
life, you
continue
must
with what
continue
you're
with what
covering.
you're
You just
covering.
have to
You just
leave it
have to leave it
and then
and
wait
then
for
wait for
a source
a
that will
source that
provide
will
that
provide that,
because
because
after
after
that
that
there
there
may be
may be
some
some
persons that may
persons
actually
that may
get
actually get
the details because if
the
an event
details. Because if
happens
an event happens,
even 2 or 3
even
days,
two
you
or
can
three
still
days,
do
you
a
can still
story
do a
by
story
that.
by
When
that.
it has
When
the
it has
tension
the
has
tension has
reduced, you can
reduced, you can
still
still
go there,
go there,
visit
visit
people,
people,
and
and
get
get
a
a
story that
story
may
that may
even be
even be
more
more
reliable
reliable
than the one dropped on the
than the
very day
one
of
dropped
the
on the
incident.
very day of the incident.
Exactly, and just to add, Mr. Tefa, even in such cases, I remember when there was the bomb blast in Abuja, reporters weren't allowed into the Nyanya scene where the blast happened. They had to be, because it was cordoned off, and they had to stay a few distance away to report. So those are safety measures that could be taken. And there are some countries where people have to report from third countries. Let's say, for instance, in Niger, where there is a coup there right now, a military regime there, and it's not so safe for reporters to report. There's some reporters, international reporters in Nigeria, reporting from a third country, which is Nigeria, and talking about what is happening there. So those are things that we can put in place to ensure that uh, lives are protected in as much as we want to uh, do our responsibility as well. Okay, I'll move on to the next question, which I think is very important. This is from Georgina. Why does conflict reporting not capture international issues? Please, people can also learn from those issues, don't you think?
All right.
All right.
Thank you
Thank you
very much.
very much.
Why does conflict
Why does
reporting not
conflict
capture
reporting not
international
capture
issues?
international issues?
Um,
Um,
conflict reporting
conflict reporting
has been
has been
capturing
capturing
international issues.
international issues.
There are reporters
There are
who
reporters
have been
who
reporting
have been
international
reporting
conflicts.
international conflict.
They have been reporting
They have been
international
reporting
conflicts
international
because
conflict
even
because even
the conflict
the conflict
Israel,
in
Palestine, Russia,
Israel,
and
Russia,
Ukraine,
and Ukraine,
and then other
and then
conflicts.
other
These are
conflicts. These are
international
international
conflicts that
conflicts
are
that are
being
being
reported. These
reported.
are conflicts
These
that
are conflicts
involve
that
one
involve one
country and the
country
other.
and
So
the
it is
other.
called
So it is called
international
international
conflict. It's not
conflict. It's not
domestic.
domestic.
It's not
It's not
within or
within
national
or
conflict.
national
So
conflict.
they are being
So they are
reported.
being
If you have
reported.
been
If you have been
following
following
events on
events
various
on various
media
media
platforms and
platforms and
TV
TV
stations, you will
stations,
see
you
that
will see that
international conflicts
international
are being
conflicts
reported.
are being reported.
So
So
they, 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 the report is to
the report
show
is to
the
show
reasons for the
the
attacks,
reasons
to
for the
show
attacks,
why
to show
such
why
conflicts are going
such
on
conflicts are
and
going
what
on
should be done
and
to
what
stop
should
the
be done to
conflict,
stop the
the
conflict,
parties
the
ensuring that
parties
the conflict
ensuring that the
doesn't end,
conflict doesn't
and what
end,
it means
and
to
what
other
it means to
countries.
other countries.
So international
So
conflict
international
has
conflict has
actually
actually
made a lot of nations
made a
to
lot
learn
of
from
nations
because
to
it's
learn
stuff that
from, because it's
people
stuff
can
that
also
people
learn
can
from
also learn from
these issues. Yes, they have been learning.
yes, they have been
Yes, if
learning.
you have been following where you see that people have been learning. That is
Yes,
why
if you have
some
been
have
following where you see
criticized
that people have been
the
learning. That is why
conflict
some
between
have
Ukraine and
criticized
Russia
the
because
conflict between
Russia
Ukraine
and Israel and Gaza, as the case may be. So such a reportage has been going on.
Exactly. Thank you for that, Mr. Tefa. And for Georgina, perhaps when you start working with us fully, we can send you to the neighboring country in Egypt to report what's happening in Gaza for us. That's just on a lighter note. Thank you. This is from Garos. It says, Sir, where there is a religious crisis and during interview and the other side refused to be interviewed, does that mean the report shouldn't be carried out at all?
Okay, thank you very much. Such a situation is very impossible. The reason I say it's very impossible is that there is no way out of 100,000 people will not be willing to talk. So it's an impossible situation that if you one or two persons that will talk to the media, even if they are told that if you talk to the media, your crisis happen. The people are not all gathered in one place. They are spread across. So you can stumble on any of the persons and ask questions. You can find a place, one or two places, and ask questions. Not that the whole people are locked in an enclosure and then you won't have access to any to ask questions. There's no way, no reporter can give an excuse that the reason I only gave the side of Christians because no Muslim person used to be interviewed say the Lord. That will be a very flippant excuse that will not actually be taken into consideration.
All right. This is from The Light. What happens in a situation where the report is live and there are some gruesome images? How can that be edited?
Thank you very much for the question. Now, in a live report, like I have said, when you are reporting anything that is live, you have no control over a lot of things, except if by doing what is known as have monthly, like I said, have monthly multiple cameras that are seeing the things happening
Mr. Tefa, it
but
seems
in a
we have
situation
a
where
bit of
a life
problem with your
recording is
audio
done and
connection.
certain
If you can
things
hear
are
me.
going on, immediately
Can you hear me, Mr. Tefa? It seems we have a bit of audio problem from your end.
okay,
Okay, I think I can hear you
my
now.
end.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Like I was saying, I was talking about the coverage that if a live recording is being done, there is nothing that can be done at that moment except if the reporter is using, I mean, except if there are multiple cameras that there can be instantaneous editing where it can be switched. But during a live coverage in which the recordings are being viewed by the audience directly on site, in that situation, it is a situation that don't, except if the media organization decides to cut the recording short where certain gruesome scenes are being shown, because the live transmission will be transmitting things that are actually done like that. And that is how it has always been. Like we see on CNN and As Jazeera, where they do some live recordings of some kind of a crisis, but they try as much as possible not to go to areas where you can see those kind of shots of people being killed in numbers and all that. Although you get the live shots, but they're in a position where you only be seeing smoke or hearing gunshots or seeing rocket flying left and right, but not in terms of corpses. In the live coverage, in terms of corpses, is something that is hardly done. But the most important thing is the corpses, the people killed, but destruction of houses and gunshots being heard and rocket flying, that can be done live. But in terms of corpses, I don't think anybody would encourage such live coverage to be done.
All right, thank you for that, Mr. Tefa. This is from Garils. I believe this will be our last question because we've fast behind time. My second question: during this interview, some interviewee talk for a long time, giving details, and there's a time frame, but can there be cutaways, and won't that distort the report?
Okay,
Okay.
thank you very much. You know, that that is the reason there is what is known as a future story. A future report or future story is a story that picks a topic and talk deep about it. Now, in giving a report of conflict, you can decide to give in summary because it is going to be part of a bulletin. So it needs to meet up with the time required. If the report is going to be 3 minutes, it will definitely be 3 minutes. So in that 3 minutes, you can give a summary. No matter what happened, whether an event of 100 years can be summarized in 1 minute or 2 minutes or 3 minutes. So you can give a summary of that, and then a future story can be done specifically on a particular topic relating to the conflict, where detailed interview will be done to avert a repeat of that and make people to learn and bring the perpetrators to book. So that can also be done to do that. So it is possible. It will not distort it, and then you can give a future report story of it and give details of what is being said by the interviewees. It's like your audio is off.
That was an oversight. All right, I was thanking you, Mr. Tefa, and for the wonderful class. It's been great so far, and as always, and thanks to our correspondents as well, and our field reporters for their wonderful time spending the Saturday with us. We cannot reiterate how important it is that they go through the process. And just as Mr. Tefa said, there's going to be a certificate at the end of the training. This is what we're going to help you build your credentials as well. In as much as you work for 3 Piece Media or some other organizations, this is a background to the beautiful work you'll be doing in future. And just as I mentioned in the introduction to the class, it's important that you follow us on all our platforms, Ecstasy TV and AfroConnect TV. These are two platforms that we run concurrently under the umbrella of 3 Piece Media. And also, please do well to fill the attendance form. It's very important and crucial in providing data for those that have been punctual and those that have attended all our training so far. I believe our next training will be Thursday. I should be around to moderate the session, or some other colleagues of mine who will do the work as excellent as I will do. Will also take the stage with Mr. Tefa, who is always and always available for us to take us through the class. So thank you. I believe that is where we'll draw it to a close. Thank you, Mr. Tefa, and I wish you a restful weekend.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Take care. Yeah. Bye.